Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll show you the main attractions we have visited in Turin, Italy. If you're curious about this city, just keep watching. During the first day, we visited the Musei Reali, which is composed by different areas of the royal palace. The Chapel of the Holy Shroud is also located here. This palace was the residence of the Savoia royal family during their reign. The interiors are extremely opulent and it kinda reminded me of Versailles in Paris. The chapel was designed by the architect Guarino Guarini, and it was constructed to house the Shroud of Turin, a relic believed by many to be the burial shroud of Jesus. Hello and welcome to my channel. We just arrived in Turin in the Piedmont region, and I think it's quite an underrated city as it's not very touristy and the tourists we've seen so far are Italians, but I think it has a rich cultural and historical heritage, so we can't wait to visit all the museums there are in this city within the next 5 days. The first night we decided to immediately try local food. and we ordered a fassona tartare, which is the typical Piedmont meat. Mine was topped with hazelnuts and white truffle, along with a charcuterie board full of local cold cuts and cheeses, paired with a bottle of Barolo red wine. Since Turin is not your typical touristy city, the streets got empty by 11 p.m., and by that time, the shops have already closed hours prior. You may ask yourself, why is there an entire museum dedicated to Egyptians in a city in northern Italy? When an Egyptian-style altar table arrived in Turin, King Charles Emmanuel III commissioned botanist Vitaliano Donati to travel to Egypt and acquire items. Donati returned with 300 pieces, which became the nucleus of the Turin collection. Nowadays, this museum is considered the second most important Egyptology collection after the Museum of Cairo. If you're fascinated by Egyptian history, this is certainly a must-visit museum. We spent the day strolling from square to square and discovering the city's architecture. The third day, we booked our visit at the National Museum of Cinema, focused on motion picture, inside the Mole Antonelliana Tower. The museum houses press cinematographic devices and current film technologies, stage items from early Italian movies, and other memorabilia. I would also suggest to buy tickets for the panoramic elevator to reach the rooftop, which gives a 360 degrees panoramic view of the city. The museum has been developed on 5 levels, being the museum with the biggest vertical extension of the world. The museum keeps a huge and growing collection of film posters, stocks, and a library, and hosts several film festivals, the major and most prestigious of them being the Turin Film Festival. I really enjoyed this museum because it's interactive and was full of movie sets in which it's possible to take photos. The fourth day, we decided to visit the medieval village inside Parco del Valentino. We later on discovered that this village is fake, meaning it is a faithful replica of a 15th century Piedmontese village. It was built in 1882 from an architect and restorer of many castles and abbeys in Piedmont. Everything was designed taking as a model the best-known buildings in Piedmont and Valle d'Aosta region. We booked a guided tour inside the castle, and it was nice to see the great attention to details of the architect when designing the replicated interiors. Shout out to our tour guide, we had a really great time.
Medioevo, o si andava in Val d'Aosta o si andava a Savoia, nella Savoia, chiave di Piovangela, invece di guardare la divana entriamo direttamente. Questa è la sala dei cavalieri, vedete un ambiente umile, povero, letti grandi perché dormono più persone contemporaneamente che è caldo, invece dei nostri materassi progettati dagli ingegneri NASA, la umile paglia, tiene caldo, è economica, assorbe. Vedete che non ci sono bagni. Il livello è alto perché siamo nella cucina che serve i bagni. Questa grata serve per tenere lontano il cibo dal pavimento.
We couldn't leave Turin without having tasted the famous drink invented in this city, which is called Bicerin, made with hot coffee, chocolate and whipped milk. We drank it in the historical and prestigious cafe and chocolate shop Baratti in Milano, where royal people used to meet. We also couldn't miss the central and outdoor market. Every second Sunday of the month, an event called Gran Balon is being hosted since 1985, where streets fill up with stalls selling vintage and antique objects. This was everything we've seen in 5 days. There are still many places we'd like to visit in Turin. That's why we'll definitely give it a second visit. Thank you for watching and see you on my next video.